If you're in Seattle, and you need to buy or sell a home, we'll be right there for you. Because we're the realtors that you can trust. So go to ronanddonsitdown.com.
You're listening to The Ron and Don Show on the Ron and Don Radio Network.
Hey, you guys, what's going on? Happy Friday, and welcome to the real estate edition of the Ron and Don Show. Every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, except during the summer, maybe we skip a couple shows. But on Friday, yeah, you get the regular show Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then on Friday we do something called Real Estate Only. It's one segment. It's usually about 10 minutes. And today, before we get to our topic, I just want to remind everyone, we have a lovely home that we've just about completely restored that's up in Edmonds, Washington. We are on right now. If you want to see it, contact Ron or Don. We are on at just under $1 million. And we're talking new floors or refurbished floors. Every wall has been painted. Brand new appliances.
A new roof.
Yeah, new roof. We just spent $6,500 in the yard. So if you want to live, work, and play in Edmonds, Washington, make sure you get in touch with us. It's right there on Main Street. Also, we have a price improvement on Queen Anne. We have a condo on Queen Anne. It's in a building that's packaged as 6. The view from this condo is like no other. We are initially on at $850, and right now we have a big price improvement, right?
Big price improvement. We're in the 7s now, and you have to go there in person. I think when a lot of people search for real estate, they go gloss right over a condo. This is a very unique condo, and like you said, you can see the cruise ships when they pull up to the dock. You can see all the marina as you're looking out on the inner bay side of Queen Anne, but it's an incredible unobstructed view, and someone's going to scoop this thing up and get an incredible condo.
If you like to entertain, you know how like when you go to Hawaii, they say bring the outside in and the inside out? This is that condo. In fact, I think the entertainment area outside, it may be bigger than the actual condo itself. We have pictures of 16, 17, 18 people at a table sitting down. It almost looks like the Last Supper. It was a white party. It is amazeball, you guys. So if you want to see that, we're down in the 7s. We've had a big price improvement. So reach out and let us know. And then finally, we have a fixer in Bellevue in Newport. If you don't know where Newport is, just think about where the Newport High School is in Bellevue. And on this particular property, the family decided instead of renovating the property, let's sell it. We already have builders that want to buy it, but in this particular case, the family would love to see someone buy it and renovate it. So instead of selling it to a builder, and we do have those offers in hand, we have brought it to market this week. And Ron, there are already people lining up to see this particular property. In the neighborhood, there are homes that have been rebuilt that are, in fact, there's one right across the street that's on with MN Construction. It's listed for almost $3.2 million. We're on at 1198. 1198. Put $100,000 into this property. We do have an inspection. We did the sewer scope, which is unusual on a estate sale. It needs updates, but what it really needs is a roof. I can get that roof done for you for just $14,000. Other roofers, I think, would charge $25,000 to $27,000. So if you're looking to get in the rehab game or the fix and flip or the fix and live,
or you just want to live in Newport Hills,
or you want to get in the fix instead of flipping, I'm going to live, buy, and hold for 10 years. This property is vastly going to approach $2 million and then get on the other side of that. So, we have a full inspection, and the inspection actually turned out great. This is a really, really nice home built in 1967. So if you'd like to see one of those homes, reach out to us. He's Don at ronanddon.com. I'm Ron at ronanddon.com. Everything is at ronanddon.com. All right, let's talk real estate. Ron, we've been in a seller's market for a long time around the country, and specifically here in Seattle, it seems like for a decade. We've been in a seller's market. Some people are now saying we've shifted to a neutral market, and in some places, maybe we're in a buyer's market. What is the difference, and how do they determine a seller's market from a neutral market and now a buyer's market?
So this is a metric economists use, and the way you think about it is like this. Let's say that by some magic wand, I could pause the number of active listings that there are in the Pacific Northwest. So we basically say there's no more listings. This is the finite number of listings. How long would it take this market to sell out of every listing that is active right now? And so if that number is less than 3 months, so less than 90 days to completely sell out if no new listings came on, then that is considered a seller's market. If it's more than 3 months, that's considered a buyer's market. Neutral will be right at 90 days. And so right now we've seen an increase in the average days on market across almost every study that I've done here, because we have listings all over. We have East Side, we have Seattle, we've got North End, South End, we've been on the Peninsula and up in Snohomish, and I've looked at a bunch of these. It feels like it's a buyer's market, but technically it is still a seller's market. But it has moved. So there was, when you go back to when interest rates were down in the 2s and 3s, Seattle had, and we said this, I remember saying this over and over and over again, historically low days on market. It was historically low. It was so far, if you thought about like a gas gauge, where it was pinned all the way over to sellers. Like there was no more room to get it. It was all the way pinned to one side, as far towards tilted towards sellers as you can. What did that mean in the real world market? That's when we saw those front page stories in the Seattle Times that were like 87 offers in Newport Hills, $450,000 over. And you and I had several houses like that back in that time, where the house on Lake Sammamish, house in Newport Hills would be $400,000 or more above the list price, with just, I had to create giant spreadsheets to go through all the offers. That was when it was so far tilted towards sellers. So the fact that it's now, I would say, mid, it's not neutral. We're not at 90 days. We're not even close to 90 days. But going from basically single digit days into mid double digit days feels like it's a buyer's market. In some places it kind of is. Here's the other dynamic, and then I'll give it back over to you. The other dynamic that we see a lot, especially, I just did a study like this up in with my Snohomies, downtown Snohomish, which is lovely. You're on the grid there, historic homes. Some of them are on historic registries. You're right, walkable down to an amazing downtown.
Snohomish is cool, man. I love Snohomish.
Great cocktails, great ice cream parlors. It's really lovely.
It's great. All the big lots. Yeah.
And so
great
what
schools.
we see happening is people know their neighbors in the grid.
They do, yeah.
And so what they say to themselves is, well, Don sold his house a couple years back.
Yeah.
And they don't think about the actual date. They just go, it was just a while ago.
It was 2022.
It was Don just sold his house a while ago.
It was 2022.
And he got $1.3 million.
In 2022.
My house is just as nice as his house. So I'm going to, and plus it's been 3 years.
Right.
So I'm going to go for 1.5 million. And so they think that the 10, 12% appreciation over year over year has not changed. And they think that just because Don sold his house then, I deserve more now. Mm-hmm. And so you see these houses sitting on the market that are hanging on to that algorithm number from 2, 3, 4 years ago. And those sellers do not want to look at the present day reality.
And let me tell you why that happens. We have a house that's up in Edmonds right now. The neighbor's house is up for sale, and the neighbor's house is at $1.2 million. Our home is very similar, and we're on just under $1 million. When I go and I look at the neighbor's home, this is what real estate agents will do to get your listing. And I'm not saying this real estate agent did this, but agents will do this. Because a lot of times you're competing with other agents for a particular listing, right? In this particular case, there's no metric out there that says that house is worth $1.2 million. I called the realtor the other day, and let's say that his name is Tom, and I called Tom and I said, hey, how long you guys been on?
It was Eddie and Edmonds.
Yeah, I said, yeah, Eddie and Edmonds. He said, we've been on 17 days, which I could see in their listing, but I was just creating some rapport. I said, how have open houses been? He said, crickets. I said, so I take it you don't have any offers? He goes, no. I said, how did you come up with 1.2? He said, well, that's just kind of what my seller wanted. And I let him know that we came on probably 100 hot. I don't think they're on 100 hot. I think they're on 250 hot. I don't think that house is worth 1.1 or even $1 million. I think it's probably worth somewhere where our house is worth under $1 million. And
is that no harm, no foul in your experience?
well, what's happening is the real
seller,
the realtor is sometimes you want to. Your seller wants to really try a number, and if you do, as long as you've built into your agreement, hey, in 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now, if nobody's coming to the open houses, if no one's interested, if no one's looking or requesting our inspection, then we miss the number and we're on too hot. So we have to have some kind of agreement that we're going to hit a percentage and we're going to come down. Because the longer a house is, if you're on 17 days and right now he does a price improvement, he's fine. But if he's on 47 days and does a price improvement on this particular house, he's going to be in trouble, right? It's too long for that particular house to be on. Condos are different because condos just take longer to sell and they do all over the country. That's a different animal.
Let me ask you this,
a condo is different than a home. And in this particular case, what agents will do to get the listing, they know once they have the listing, once they worked on the house, once they've cleaned it up, once you've listed, once you're literally or figuratively in bed with them, you're probably not going to delist. So they're going to get their commission on the way down, and they're okay listing it too high. And sometimes they won't tell you that because they know there's two other agents competing, and there might be another agent that's saying that said, "Hey, what'd I say, Eddie and Edmonds?"
Yeah, Eddie.
The agent's name is Eddie and Edmonds. This is actually a good agent too. I don't want to throw him under the bus, and I don't know that he did this, but in this particular case, if there's another agent, or sometimes it's a family member that's an agent that says, "Hey, that house is worth 1.2." Then you come on at 1.2, knowing that you can't sell it for 1.2. So really, make sure when you're talking to your agent, say, hey, I'm paying you to be honest with me, not to tell me what I want to hear. And in this particular case, if they don't do some kind of price reduction or price improvement, now that we're storming into the summer, they've harmed that house. And the person that comes in that buys it, they're going to throw some pretty cheap numbers at it, and you've harmed the listing, you've harmed the house, and you've harmed your client by not telling them the truth.
And it's hard because it's human nature for these sellers to look at the net proceeds amount, and you start to spend that money. It's imaginary money, but you go, oh man,
that's a good point. I didn't think of that.
I'm going to get $750,000 in cash.
Great point.
This is my retirement. I'm going to take $250 and put it into my IRA. Like you start allocating that money.
That's right.
And but what if we buy that condo on the beach in Mexico, and that was $400,000, and you spend that money, and then when it turns out that it's not $750, when the number shrinks, your plans have now exploded. So it's hard. You really need some wisdom when setting price.
Yeah. So tell your realtor, I need you to be honest with me. I don't need you to lie to me. But a lot of times realtors will lie to you in order to get the listing.
The
and again,
trainer at the gym is the one you want to lie to you.
Yes.
You look great in those stretch pants.
And your wife and girlfriend, especially if those are the same people.
Correct.
So they're allowed to.
That's the person you want to lie to you.
It should be the same person, shouldn't it? Yeah. Anyway. Hey, you guys, thanks for listening to this episode of The Ron and Don Show. Don't forget, every Friday we do something called Real Estate Only. When you look at the podcast, the YouTube channel, you look on Spotify, it'll just say Real Estate Only. And we know some people are like, hey, we're just tuning in for The Ron and Don Show, like we used to listen to on Cairo. That's every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. But Friday, we try to do a good job of teaching you something that we're learning. And we sell the sound. So if you're interested in looking at our new listing that we've worked for months on, we're really proud of it, and we love it up in Edmonds. Where could you be in Edmonds for under $1 million? And also, this condo, bringing the outdoor in, the indoor out, it's really like living with a lanai.
I should be there right now.
In Maui. It's super, super cool, especially during the summer months. Even in the winter months, I've seen heaters out there. It's magnificent, you guys. And the views, there's nothing that can ever be built in front of it. So the view that you have in perpetuity is never going away. And then this one in Bellevue, it's going to sell fast. So if you're listening to it, this is on a Friday. We'll be open Saturday and Sunday, Newport Hills. Reach out to us through ronanddonsitdown.com and come see this home. I think somebody's going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars on this particular home just by buying it, flipping it, selling it. Why shouldn't it be you? Or buy it and live in it. And you're next to, as Matt told me off the mic, he said, hey, that is the greatest high school in America and maybe the greatest high school in American history.
It might be a stretch.
Go Knights. That's what he said. I'm just quoting him. So, all right, if you need us, reach out. RonandDonSitDown.com. You got anything else?
Email me, ron@ronandon.com. Let's sell your house.
Yeah, Matt, anything? He's already gathering the mail for next week for Matt Off the Mic and the mailbag. He's already gathering it. It's everywhere.
It sounds a lot like a newspaper.
Sounds like a lot like a crossword puzzle.
See you next week, everybody.
All right, till next time, keep your head up and your shoulders back. And don't forget, how could you? That you've been listening to the Ron and Don Show only on the Ron and Don Radio Network.
Well, that's it. Show's over. We'll see you next time on the Ron and Don Radio Network.